forever protect you. I'll hide you away from this world. You rejected you, but in my heart I'd surely not break you if you were beside me, and my love would take you. I'll keep you in safety forever, protect you. I'll hide you away from this world you rejected. I'll hide you.
What a wicked game to play.
fearless ways. What a wicked thing to do. Let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. We never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do. Make me dream of you. And I wanna fall in love. I wanna fall in love.
Hi, Ryan. You hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We're gonna put the music on for a few more minutes. Marty's getting on, and then we'll get right to it. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, I cannot hear you. I barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. But it's
Yeah, we're gonna put the music on for another 2 minutes. Let the people join. Let Marty get on, and then I will be right with you. Thank you for joining us. Hey, welcome to the Breakfast Show, GM. Nice to have you on, everybody. We have Ryan over here from Solv BTC. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Yeah. Hey, Juju. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, Mati's going to get on in a few, and we're probably going to raise a glass because we're both in Israel, and with perfect timing, the ceasefire between Israel and Iran came into effect yesterday. So our kids are back at school. Daddy's home alone. We've got the charts out. We've got the coffee out. We're having a good time. Silent home. This is a blessing. So great to have you with us on a celebratory episode. And I think we'll talk a lot about Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks because it's been insanely powerful, right? The world superpower level, right? We had a dip below 100K for about a few hours and then straight back up, despite the fact that humanity was a hair's breadth away, a whistle away from nuclear war. So Bitcoin obviously performing like a tank. Every asset kind of did well, but I think Bitcoin, specifically very proud of the performance. We'll definitely talk about that. But first, let's hear a bit about yourself. Where you're from, how do you get into Bitcoin? It's a great opportunity to introduce you. When Mati comes, we'll dive straight into the meat.
Sure. Yeah, hello everyone, and thanks for the time to be here. And also thank you, Dudu, for having me here. And yeah, I think it will be a very exciting and very interesting conversation today. And I'm Ryan. I'm the founder of Solv Protocol. I have been dedicated on Solv Protocol for over 4.5 years, since late 2020. After it's during the DeFi summer. So before I built Solv Protocol, I oh yeah, it seems like you adjusted. So before I built Solv Protocol, I jumped into this rabbit hole back in 2018. When that time I was a sophomore student, so I was fascinated with blockchain technology. I did a lot of research to see how to adapt blockchain technology into different kind of industry. So but in 2020, I realized that smart contract is the future that could really build trust in a very low cost, very efficient way. So that's why I think DeFi is the future of the. It should be the part of the future financial ecosystem. So that's why I decided to build something on DeFi. So which is Solv Protocol. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, we'll definitely get into why you decided to do it on DeFi, but specifically Bitcoin DeFi, because when people
Mhm.
think DeFi, their mind might run to a inferior chain, what we would call no second best on Ethereum. Now you coming and saying this is the asset that is perfect collateral for DeFi. It's called BTC. It's Satoshi's very own, and we will find out exactly how you get Bitcoin to work in DeFi in a few minutes,
Sure.
because you guys have one point, I think, 4 or 5 billion in TVL, but almost 3 billion TVL at the peak. So there's crazy demand right now to lock up Bitcoin. But for me, what gets me is the fact that 3 billion is, not a number to be shy of in any case, but it's only, a fraction of what Sailor holds. It's only, a fraction of what BlackRock's holding. So there's still so much opportunity out there, addressable market, that Solv will, inshallah, please God, or please crypto God, will get to eventually, and that's what excites me. But first, I want to say a celebratory GM to Mati. Mati, I was telling Ryan now about our situation, how the fact that Donald Trump, Mati over here is a Trump supporter and get out the vote operative. So Donald Trump, Mati called Trump. He's like, "Can you make a ceasefire on Tuesday? We have a Wednesday show. We get this guy coming on to talk Bitcoin." And Trump pulled through for his boy Mati. So congratulations. Welcome back to peace, Mati.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Man, there was milk in the supermarket for the first time in forever. That was full of milk. It's like this ceasefire thing is really good. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm not obviously it's the whole saga and everything like that had me all flipped upside down over the last few days or the last few weeks. I think it's been very difficult. The airport closed, flights getting canceled. Um, Back and forth to the bomb shelter 3-4 times a day. That's never fun. Um, so yeah, glad to be in disregarding everything political at the moment. It's just very glad to be in my own space, back at the computer working and
Mhm.
getting back to day-to-day activities is a real pleasure. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the last 2 weeks I mean, you must have had it rough. Like, we had the bomb shelters, kids at home, and you're managing like 17 businesses and three advisories and multiple, that was a tough one. But, while we were struggling, Bitcoin was not. I think we had a very surprising, for at least for me, reaction to World War III from the king of currencies, BTC.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. But not a lot of volatility, right? I mean, this whole thing started Friday, June 13th or Friday the 13th. And here we can see that on the chart right about here. So, I mean, this is 1 day per candlestick. So this is not extreme volatility over here in any way, shape, or form. And if somebody really wants to ascribe this short little dip in the market below 100K to geopolitical events, I guess, yeah, sure you can. Then, but what do you ascribe these type of moves to? Much larger in the market. I mean, it really is in large way kind of insignificant. That's not to say there isn't money to be made, and I think one of the most fascinating things is like crude oil, of course, because there were some very, very sharp moves in crude oil. Here we can see the Friday, June 13th, big green candlestick rising up into that. And then what was most interesting is the fact that crude oil started to drop, this big red candlestick here. A majority of this move was happening while Iran was attacking Qatar, or the American base in Qatar. And you would think that, oil would go up in that case, right? Because there's more geopolitical tension in the region, the Strait of Hormuz, blah, blah, blah. And, 20% of the world's oil going through there, and all of the narratives that we are used to hearing about crude oil. But it did take a sharp fall during that time. So my suspicion is that somebody knew there was about to be a ceasefire called. And therefore, the premium on getting into Trump's paid group, I'd put that at probably like 100K right now. I don't know what he's charging per head, but if somebody can find out how much Trump charges to get in his paid group, let me know. I will pay it, whatever it is. That is like one investment that will pay for itself over and over again over the next 3 years. But yeah, that's
I'll tell you how much he charges. He charges like if you're a Scandinavian or Slavic, woman, then it's free. And if you the babies of that, then it's also free. And if your surname's Trump or Kushner, then it's free. Otherwise, there's no entry. You can't get into Alpha Group. You got to get into Barron's Alpha Group. That's where the real money.
Okay.
I want to hear. I want to hear what you think of like why this is so like it just seems like we live in an upside down world where everything we thought would happen with oil, with Bitcoin, with stocks around this war just kind of was the market signaling to us that they knew that this was all theater, and at the end of the day, like there was obviously a lot of human life lost in this conflict, but not nearly as much as you'd expect, and it was over, as soon as it began.
It's more than that, and I think we can look at the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, right? And I mean, that's the TSX. There we go. Well, the graph doesn't look very pretty like that. We're gonna maybe put it on the 1 day.
Yeah, make it look pretty. Find the time frame that
Hold on. There it is. Now it looks pretty. Yeah, the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has been performing absolutely phenomenally. Real estate in Israel has gone up tremendously over the last few months, and it's particularly over the last few weeks. People and markets are forward looking, and people understand, I think, what it is that we're trying to do. And a nuclear free Iran is good for business. Having like a war that's winding down, and now a place that's rising anti-Semitism around the world, and a safe home for the Jewish people. I mean, that's a very bullish prospect. And so I think that as this war comes to a close, obviously we've got some cleaning up to do in Gaza, and tragic event yesterday. We lost 7 soldiers. I'm pretty sure this will come to an end soon, and I think investors are pricing that in and saying, okay, well, what does the economy of Israel look like when there's no war? I think that could be a pretty awesome prospect.
Not only no war, I think post-war is always an insane time to rebuild. Like if you look at the history of, post World War II, that's where the term boomers come from, because like they came of age in the 50s and 60s, and even later by the 70s, by the 80s, like Wall Street was booming. Japan, Germany, all these economies, like as a result of the Marshall Plan. They had all this money being pumped into reconstruction. So I think you're going to have something similar here, not just in Israel, but in Gaza as well. Like, Trump's going to, and the Gulf states are going to start pumping a lot of money into the reconstruction, and that's ultimately good for the local economy. But we had a question from Dollar Crypto, an excellent question. We'll look at it in a second. But first, I want to get your take on what you saw the last couple of weeks, Ryan, as an observer watching from the outside neutrally. Like, how did you see the markets, and what do you make of their reaction to the last couple of weeks of war?
So from my perspective, I think like more and more people, firstly, more and more government try to like recognize Bitcoin as the kind of mainstream financial assets, right? So the key thing here is that how many people, how many governments, or how many like users gonna like take Bitcoin as the store of the value assets instead of like gold and some other assets. So I think stable coins currently become a buzzword recently, right? So more and more users try to take stable coins as a store of value instead of Bitcoin. So I mean, like this is something that the trend that we can see in the past like several weeks. That could be a challenge for Bitcoin as the one of the best store of the value assets for the next era. So in terms of the war, I think like it seems like people when people feel like risky, they will still try to like sell Bitcoin, as we can see in the past several weeks. But I think the key thing is still about like to see if the interest could be reduced, like from the U.S. Reserve. That I think that would be the key thing that could really kind of make the Bitcoin to pop a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's everything's becoming more adopted. Everything's becoming more commercialized. But let's take a look at our hash rate graph, right? Let's see if because there's rumors that Iran was mining Bitcoin in those nuclear facilities. People think that a big hash rate drop created, leads to some indication that when the strike happened, it took some miners offline. Let's check it in with our chief mining correspondent, Mati Greenspan, to give us a little way. And it does look like we dropped below some sort of. It's always helpful to kind of look at the smoothed chart with the moving average, but it does seem like there was a big drop over there, and I don't think a price shift can explain that. So maybe indeed we'll never know. But maybe uranium wasn't centrifuges weren't the only thing spinning in Fordo.
We will not ever know where exactly what happened here, or if and how much Iran was mining. It's very difficult to say. I mean, like to think about, like to think that there were ASICs running in Fordo or something like that. I mean, that's just a wild theory. But the hash rate drop is quite visible on the chart, and that's obviously very good for us as miners and quantum expeditions, and with our new natural gas site set to come online, God willing, August 1st. Hopefully we'll see a nice significant decline in difficulty by then. But actually, the rumors that I'm hearing are that this is less about Iran and just more about the bigger miners and their efficiency, which is not great. And the fact that they've been there, some of them are actually mining at a significant loss right now, even at 100K. And then when it dipped below 100K, I'm pretty sure some people were hitting that panic button and saying, "Okay, we'll shut it down," because you can't really afford to do that. Like, if your assumption is Bitcoin is going to 180K and your mining cost is 120K, so you're kind of okay, got some room to play with. Okay, I'll hold the Bitcoin for a few months, get my appreciation, and I'll mine it at a loss for now on the assumption that I'll be able to sell it higher for later. You can play with that for a while, but eventually the electric bill comes in, and you've got to start paying your employees, and reality sets in, and you go, okay, wait, well, I can't mine at 120K if the price is below 100K. And I think that that's probably a much larger trigger than anything that might have happened in Iran. I honestly, I never thought of Iran as like a Bitcoin mining hub, although my assumption is that they have been moving their entire economy towards crypto over the last few months and even years, as sanctions and stuff like that set in. And we did see some large hacks on Iran, and I think it was some $80 million or so. I don't remember the exact figure that was frozen from Israeli hackers that managed to get a hold of the IRGC's money. But I don't like the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that there is no geolocation on any of the hash rate or any of the data. It is completely anonymous, and so any sort of estimates that you do here and research that you will see, I mean, that'll give us a better picture. You got to dig into the methodology of those sort of researches. You always have, and I've been analyzing this since 2013. You can hear the data or hear the assumptions and whatever. It gives you a better picture, but you'll never really understand what's going on behind the scenes. All I know is, for our new site, we're going, yes, let's hope the price comes down a little bit more, squeezes those other miners out, get this difficulty down, and that'll just make us all the more profitable, because we are set to be one of the most efficient mining operations in the United States.
Yeah, that's incredible news for you. So that's what we call chaos theory. If you're not familiar with chaos theory, it's the concept that a butterfly will flap its wings in Japan and a hurricane will land in San Francisco. So a B2 drops, bunker buster just outside of Tehran, and somewhere in Texas, Mati Greenspan's mining rigs are more profitable. So every action has a reaction, and sometimes you're not aware of when that goes down. But I want to talk about happy things. Enough war stuff, because we're past that. Then I want to focus on the future of Bitcoin, the future of DeFi, and Solv BTC. Mati, are you familiar with Solv BTC? Do you know anything about them? Or is it the first time you're coming into contact?
First time. I saw some stuff on the promo for this show. Yeah, happy to dig into it. Obviously, the usual disclaimer applies. We're not always friendly to our guests, so we will give you the hard questions, and hope you're prepared for that. And we don't take down the video afterward for any. We had a guy try to sue us once, but you seem like you've got your head on straight. So looking forward to
Mati makes it sound like we're tigers. We're not tigers. We're just friendly. We're your friendly wolves, walking in a pack, protecting your brand.
If you're trying to promote a scam, then we are tigers. Let's put it straight. If you're straight, and you're trying to build in a space, then we really encourage that, because that's what we're all about.
Yeah, I think it's just about, like, the guy, and this is relevant to you, Ryan. We had a guy on from restaking in Ethereum, like in that kind of vertical, and we asked him where the yield was coming from, and like now I understand a bit more about restaking, about alternative validated services, about where the yield's coming from, how early we are, and everything. But back then we understood quite little, and we kept kind of challenging the notion of where the yield coming from with restaking. So I think that's a great place to start. Like maybe you can explain restaking in sort of your own words, especially in the Bitcoin context. And then we'll get to the number one question. We'll get it straight off the bat because everyone wants to know, where is the yield coming from?
Sure. I think like as a like Bitcoin staking platform, like staking is a kind of interaction for the users to like stake their Bitcoin and then to get some use. So it's more like a user experience kind of perspective. But in terms of like where does the use come from? It should be like diversify. There are varieties of like use, right? So we got Solv Protocol is also BTC is one of the largest on-chain BTC bank or BTC staking platform in DeFi that will allow users to stake their Bitcoin, and then we like provide varieties of financial service. So firstly is the yield generation. The yield generation part, there are several use. One is like the on-chain staking, like from Babylon, from Call, those of the staking or restaking infrastructure. So the reason why we like the users can stake their Bitcoin and get some use is that all those of infrastructure are similar with EigenLayer, that they are designed for like to secure like or provide security or verification service to the other infrastructure. That's why they can like get some gas fee, get some like transaction fee from those of infrastructure, like especially those of layer 2 kind of infrastructure. So I think this is one type of very typical yield. Then the second one is the trading strategy. So there are like varieties of like trading strategies like Athena. They can they take the basic trading kind of strategy to provide yield for like stablecoin. So similarly, we can also take some like delta neutral strategy to provide yields for Bitcoin. So it's a kind of like trading strategy, like just like Athena, right? So that's the second thing. And the third thing is something that very interesting that I will give you an example here. We can stake Bitcoin to borrow BNB and then stake BNB to get the launch pool yields. So that's also something that is not a trading strategy or it's not a staking strategy. It's a kind of like some use from some sustainable use in the space. But it's of course a crypto native use. So that's the third thing. And then the fourth thing is something that we are exploring with like BlackRock and Avalanche, is that we can like borrow against the Bitcoin to get stablecoin and put the stablecoin into other blades. So then the other blade becomes the yield engine behind this, right? So overall, we can get a varieties of yields to be provided to all those of the Bitcoin holders. And that's all the things that
Mati, I think that's one of the better answers we've had to that. Like 4 things, I'm pretty clear on what they are. Like I'm familiar with Babylon. I thought the only source of yield from you guys was Babylon, like restaking, and that's really not the case right now. You have multiple ways, and I think the bottom line here is Bitcoin is the best collateral asset, and once you have Bitcoin TVL, you can use that you can mirror that onto an L2, and then you have all different ways to generate yield. Mati's doing some searches. We'll share his screen in a second, but yeah, I've got a couple questions. I'm not going to ask you like what the yield is or how like what the yield of all of those are, because I know it's very volatile and variable, and like you can't know until you've put the money in, you've tried it, you've run it for it. But I'm curious to know about the more of the security angles and the safety and how you guys think of like bridging to Bitcoin, from Bitcoin to Ethereum or to another EVM chain, and then back to BTC-L1, like and doing that in a way that introduces as few trust assumptions onto Bitcoin. Because at the end of the day, people are, I know for myself, like I'm a Bitcoin holder. I have some money in LSTs, in Bitcoin derivatives, but I'm still not comfortable putting more than maybe 10% of my sats into out of my cold storage until I'm learn. I want to understand the text. I want to understand my risk. I want to understand how many new risk assumptions the wrapped version introduces on the pristine, pure BTC sitting in cold storage.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So, firstly, I think different like Bitcoin holders are different from each other for sure, right? So we designed the whole structure, the whole framework to meet different type of users' needs. So I will give you an example. So we have a suite of products. One is called Solv BTC. So Solv BTC is a Bitcoin wrapper. It's a gateway for BTC-Fi. So it's one to one to for the Bitcoin. So you can stake your Bitcoin no matter like through like Binance or through like Bybit through through OKX. Then you can like get a Solv BTC, and this is something that in terms of security perspective, it's a matter of like Solv BTC is something that really packed to Bitcoin. So it's all about the transparency and the decentralization, and also the custody, the security of the custody behind this Solv BTC. So it's something like the logic's pretty similar with like WBTC or BTCB or Coinbase BTC. So I mean, like this is Solv BTC. And secondly, when you want to get more yields, then we provide different votes, so different LSTs products to Solv BTC holder. So if you want to get Babylon yields, then you will get you can stake your Bitcoin into Babylon, then you will get Solv BTC to Babylon. So if you want to get some trading strategy yields, then like give you an example here, like Jupiter, we build a delta neutral strategy on Jupiter, then you can get Solv BTC to Jupiter, which it means that you want to bear the risk from Jupiter while you can get the yields from the Jupiter. So I mean, like it depends on the risk appetite from different type of the Bitcoin holders. So yeah, it's all like it seems like as we can see, more and more users are trying to like believe in or trust Coinbase, trust Binance, trust OKX, because like Coinbase released Coinbase BTC, Binance got their like they have their BTCB, and OKX released their XBTC. So at least this type of the Bitcoin holders, they would try to bring their BTC on chain to find some use or find some use cases, or kind of get more utilization of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, but for me, what speaks to me like Coinbase BTC. I'm a Coinbase. I have Coinbase stock. I think they've done great things for the space, but I also know that there's a limit to how much I would trust them with my money. Because like the end game cannot be a Coinbase controlled wrapper of BTC, and then suddenly like I do something, I speak out against I post some sort of spicy meme about Donald Trump, and the State Department can then tell Coinbase, no, you need to stop banking this guy, and then I can't like I don't want to trust the third party. Obviously, that's the whole point of crypto. So I think what sticks out for me in Solv BTC is like the decentralized aspect of it, the fact that it's on chain, it's decentralized. I want to kind of get some questions from the audience, and then we'll go to Mati. I want to hear what he has to say. But I'm curious about this question from Mr. Lucky Jen. Like you've got a lot of different Bitcoin wrappers out there. You mentioned some centralized ones. There's also some decentralized ones that LBTC and Pump and Solv. And so what sets Solv BTC out of this whole menu? And obviously it's not an either or, because it's obviously a good idea to try a lot of things, to diversify, to get your exposure, to know what's happening. I'm sure you guys as well want to test out other BTC products, to see what's happening and to kind of take the best element. So what sets apart Solv BTC and Solv Protocol?
Sure, I think that's also a really good question. I think firstly, we are like BTC native, multi-chain and compliance first kind of the platform. So, but for most of the projects or most of the competitors are either Ethereum only or like institutional structure. So I mean, that's the first kind of difference here. And then like secondly, I mean like Solv BTC is not just a
How do
wrapper.
you make a DeFi protocol regulatory compliant? I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I will give you an example. We got one of our LSC products called solvbtc.core got the Sharia compliance certificate. So I mean it's
Say
on-chain
Sharia compliance. So this is like
Sharia.
like you have a fatwa or something.
Yes, yes. So it's something that like we now all those like sovereign wealth funds they can stick their Bitcoin into this
So
type of.
you guys must be based in Dubai, of course.
Yes, we got some members there. But of course, I mean like it's a decentralized products, but still could be recognized as a compliance products for sure. So yeah, I mean this is the one difference
But
here. And the
Sharia compliance is a religious kind of thing for Muslims who and we have very similar laws in Judaism regarding payment of interest, and I think that in general, DeFi meets this a lot better than anything that you see in traditional finance, because in traditional finance, those laws are trampled anytime you open a bank account. I mean, you're paying interest to the bank, or the bank is paying you, and there's no real way around this, and we end up just putting up with it because that's the way the world works, and we don't really have a choice. But with DeFi, actually, we do. But my question was more like along the lines of, global regulators, financial regulators and stuff. How are they viewing this, and how do you interact, or if you interact with them at all?
like for getting like compliance, right?
Yeah, like financial licensing and stuff.
Mhm. So I mean, like for Bitcoins, it's something that it's not stable coins and it's not USD pegged assets. So I mean, like it's already recognized as not a not like securities, right? So I mean, this is a good angle that for most of the institutions. So firstly, hold these assets. Like secondly, I mean, like getting some use in a very decentralized way, a very transparent way is something that I think the biggest challenge is how to make them understand the logic here. So what is smart contracts? What is like staking? Like what is Cody's law, and how to where the use comes from. I mean this is the largest challenge. But once when it really could be communicated very well or smoothly, then I think it could be. It actually the friction here is way less than a centralized kind of assets.
Yeah, you don't need financial regulators. It's DeFi. It's not like they're not a money
Yeah.
transmitter. They're not a like a bank. They're not custodying user funds. It's all decentralized, which is the beauty of it. And especially in Dubai, like where Dubai is coming out and doing everything it can to embrace it. I think that's you're onto something here with the regulatory, like with your regulatory approach. Like we're DeFi, so we don't need to deal with like secular global regulators. But goddamn, if we fall afoul of the imams, like then we won't be able to tap into any of that Gulf money. So it's like, paying attention to that, and it's true. Like Mati and I know, like in our
It's
country
like the
as
hot
well.
dog commercial, right? The answer to a higher authority, right?
Yeah. Like in those countries, there's very little. Israel's still a bit of a secular state. So when Mati mentioned the Jewish prohibition against interest, that is a religious law. That is not codified in the government, law of the state of Israel. That cannot be prosecuted in a court of law. But there are different, agreements and different documents that banks have to sign, for example, in order not to fall afoul of the religious law. But I think in the Gulf, as you get more conservative, Qatar and Oman and Bahrain and Dubai, like the religious law becomes a lot more impactful on the law of the land. So to your question, Mati, I think in a lot of places it's very hard to separate between what Allah wants and what the banking regulator wants.
Yeah. And also I want to share something that pretty interesting is that we are designing a framework to be able to tokenize Bitcoin ETF on chain through Solv BTC. So as we can see, more and more institutions they just purchase Bitcoin through ETF, right? Because I think like for those of the institutions to put their Bitcoin under like Coinbase custody, under Fidelity custody, would make them feel much more comfortable, even than a cold wallet, right? So that's why I think there are more and more institutions or mainstream capital just flowing into like Bitcoin through Bitcoin ETF. But the next part is that how to make those of the Bitcoin into productive assets. So there should be some compliance method to tokenize those of the assets on chain and allow those of Bitcoin ETF to be, to borrow against them to get some stable coins on Aave, on like Venus, on those of lending protocol, or get some yields on chain. So I mean that's all the things about BTC-Fi and the future of it.
That's very cool. Can you? I want to do a demo quickly. Mati is playing around with your product. We'll find out soon if he's sold or not yet.
I'm trying. I'm trying here, but my money is in Solana and it's on Phantom. And I don't see that you are able to connect Phantom.
No, this is EVM. Like you don't have a MetaMask ready to go on your browser.
I gotta bridge it now. So yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
No, it's a lot of bridging but they accept at BNB. You can deposit. Deposit different.
Maybe I can bridge it on MetaMask, but that'll take a bit of time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to get BNB, you have to get the BTC, and then you bridge it to all these chains. But it's nice to have a way to get in and out of. I remember back in 2019 there was PBTC, and that was the only way to get BTC in and out from Bitcoin to EVM. Like if I want to trade Bitcoin for Tether on a DEX, the only way to do that was PBTC. They had it on Ethereum and they had it on EOS. That was 2019. So to see this is music to my ears and a fresh treat to my eyes. The fact that you can bridge different types of Bitcoin wrappers across all these chains, that's an incredible thing to see.
Yeah.
Would that work? Can I use Binance Coin Solana or probably not, huh?
No, bro, no. I don't know where you've gone deep into the rabbit hole, bro. We'll do it another time.
Yeah, you gotta let me know when we're doing a demo in advance so I can prepare these things. I wasn't ready.
I think that's a good idea. Like we do the demos for the guest. I think that's a great idea. But you can see the Solv BTC, some of the stats about $1 billion Solv in circulation. I want to kind of talk to you about that, about your growth. Like, I'm very fascinated about, how do companies get from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 1 billion. So maybe run us through a bit of your journey, your milestones, campaigns that you ran, partnership. What did you do to get the TVL to, a cool 10 figures?
Yes. I think it's also a very good question that Solv Protocol. I founded Solv Protocol from late 2020, so I think there are several very important timing for us. The first one happened in like 2022. At that time, we have witnessed the collapse of Voyager, BlockFi, Three Arrows, FTX, right? So I think it makes me to realize that for asset management kind of things. Like if we want to use crypto native or on-chain words, we call it staking, right? So if we want to build something like to provide use to our users, we should use decentralized way instead of a centralized way. So this is something we have realized in 2022. So that's why we decided to provide tokenized yield-bearing products on chain, no matter for stable coins or Bitcoins. I think that's the first time. And after we decided to all in this sector, we got $100 million TVL in 1 year. So from 2022 to 2023. And then the second timing is the early of 2024. At that time, we have also witnessed all the hype on ordinals, on ruins, all those Bitcoin ecosystem assets. And also we have seen the Bitcoin layer 2 kind of the concepts just came out. I'm not that buying this concept, to be honest, because like what is like Bitcoin layer 2? Because what's the difference between Bitcoin layer 2s with like Ethereum and Solana? Or we can say BNB chain, and also Solana, Ethereum. Every one of them are a Bitcoin layer 2, right? Because once you bridge the Bitcoin, yeah, once you bridge the
Everything after Bitcoin is a layer 2. I like that. Okay.
yeah, for sure, right? So I
Our
mean,
friend,
that's
yeah. Our friend Dollar Crypto over here had a good point. He's like, there are too many Bitcoin layer 2s, and you've got to be careful choosing
yes,
where you put your yield, because again, like if you're risking, like for me, I look at it and like, what yield can I get on my Bitcoin? 7-8%. Like, am I gonna risk my sats for 7-8%?
What am I
Like,
bridging
it's
to
not-
here? BNB or Ethereum?
yeah, maybe BNB the gas fee will be lower.
Yeah, too much lower gas. So that's kind of, I think I think that's what he meant. But to your point, I agree with you very strongly, and I think we're seeing this in in a lot of different ways. People experimenting with different, Bitcoin scripts. Bitcoin OS, they enabled DK proof verification using Bitcoin script. You have BitVM. You have all these technologies to kind of create, minimize the trust assumption when bridging from Arch Network, when bridging from Bitcoin to chain X. So that chain X does not need to be a Bitcoin purpose layer 2. And a lot of layer 2s like Starkware, Cardano, RCP, they all starting to realize where the money's at, where the interest is at, and they're pivoting. Cardano's done like a whole 180-degree pivot into Bitcoin. Like, they're flirting with having a Bitcoin treasury. They're doing a Bitcoin. They're working with a few companies to do Bitcoin verification, like a bridge to Bitcoin, and become a Bitcoin layer 2 in effect. So I definitely agree with your point. We're going to see a lot more chains, I think, prioritizing Bitcoin as a as a chain, as a place to bridge to. Mati, are you working?
I got it, man. I got it. It
You
looks
got
like
it? Mati's bridging to Solv BTC.
we got it. We got the
We are
BNB.
going to
Look at that.
we are Solv pilling Mati live. This is a very momentous occasion. Usually, like, we every time we do a demo, right? I'm sure you're familiar with that. We have like 10-15 minutes to do the demo, and we get so stuck in, like, approvals and bridging, and it's like if this is a smooth experience for Mati, this is going to be a game changer over here, a proper game changer. So I want to kind of I want to ask you something else
Because
now.
we all know that I'm retarded, right?
I think we're all retarded when it comes to clicking buttons.
All right.
I got a bridge.
I got BNB. I connected my wallet here.
Yeah, they got some stable coin.
Okay, so I put one Solana, which is about $150, onto this account. What I did like about your site, I noticed, is that when you change the MetaMask chain, it changes on the website as well, which is quite a nice. A lot of DeFi applications really fail over there. So chapeau. Okay, I'm here. I've got the money. Where do I go?
So you can go to swap because you are stablecoin, not Bitcoin, right? So then you can go to swap, or you can swap your stablecoin into Solv BTC for sure.
BNB.
BNB chain, BNB. Do I want to leave some for gas or just swap?
Of course. Swap 0.1 just for the
one. So actually, this is not a very typical way to get Solv BTC. The most typical way is to swap your stablecoin into Bitcoin, into BTCB, and then you can deposit BTCB into our smart contract.
Yeah. So looking
Okay.
drop down.
Why is it not available?
Look at the drop down, Mati. The Solv BTC drop down, and try get BTCB from Binance.
I think
Go to
there's
Binance. You're not on Binance, on Ethereum.
Yeah, maybe you can.
wasn't.
You can
And then
try
get Binance.
Okay.
You're getting a mix. One is Ethereum, one's Binance. You need to swap from BNB to BTCB.
maybe you can go to PancakeSwap to swap your BNB into BTCB first, and then you can come here just take the BTCB to get Solv BTC.
Yeah.
So you want me to go to Pancake? So why is this is the swap function here not?
I think there's some problem happen on Dudu. It's the backend kind of the DEX that we integrated here. So maybe PancakeSwap.
What? Okay, so I can do it through the MetaMask's bridge function, right?
Oh yes, I think so. You can try it.
Oh, it's actually so the bridge function doesn't, or just the swap.
You can use the swap function, yes, and swap it, and you can search Solv BTC here.
What do I want to see? BTCB?
BTCB, yeah, exactly. Is it the right thing? Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go 0.1555, which is $100.
Yeah, it's $100.
Fetching quotes. Okay. Swap complete.
Oh, quick.
That was quick. Thank you.
Now you're gonna have to wait 7 hours for block confirmations on BTC.
Okay,
Then
so now
you just go to the Solv BTC, click the button of the top,
Solv BTC. Yeah.
the tag here, and then you click BNB, and then because you are
chain. Yeah.
in chain. So yes, you got some BNB here. Yes. Then you approve it, and then you can mint it. It's one to one. Yeah.
confirm.
And now how do we juice up his yield?
Okay.
Yeah. Then
how do I see? Okay, no. So this is still here. Why does it say? Okay. Do I have?
Yeah, you're already approved, so we can deposit now into the smart contract. It's
a refresh.
Yeah, it's purely decentralized smart contract.
So now where did my money go, sir? Is it gone?
Yeah,
You already deposited your BTCB? Did you?
Yeah, so that's what I did. It said the transaction was approved. So where do I see my balance?
Go to my portfolio. Let's see my portfolio.
But I
think you approve it, but you haven't deposited it. So
yeah, you approved, but you didn't send the transaction. Click deposit again.
Try again.
Yeah, try again. Now deposit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did this already. Transaction was okay. Oh, now okay.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, let me open that up just for future reference and confirm. Okay. So I've confirmed now. Do I have to sign another transaction or?
No, then you got your Solv BTC, I think.
I have Solv BTC. Where can I see that? Is that going to be in my
your portfolio? Yeah, I think it should be on the MetaMask, and also yes, you can scroll down.
Okay, the BTCB token is gone.
Yes. It's
but I don't.
Zero. So I think you should insert these coins.
You need to add it, yeah.
Yeah, you should import it.
You need to add the token.
What am I looking for? Solv?
Solv BTC on BNB.
On BNB.
Which one of these?
None of this.
None
of them. Uh-oh.
There we go.
This one?
Yeah.
Let's go.
There we go.
You got it.
Okay. All right. So now I've got Solv BTC on MetaMask, $100 worth. Now what?
So then you click the staking tag. Then you can
Okay.
find anything that you want here, any yields that you want here. So you can decide it to get
Barachain, it's all Barachain always has the highest yield, but I don't like Barachain. I think I was like I haven't shared much about it, but I was like Barachain. I was like I don't like them. I get off vibes from Barachain. Like everyone's a non there. I was exposed to a rug on Barachain, a launchpad
what,
rug on Barachain.
Ryan, I know
wouldn't
not.
touch Barachain. I would touch something else.
So the only thing I know is not Barachain. So
You
tell
can
me
take
where do I want to park my money for the next year to get the best yield here?
I mean, like, if you believe in Binance and all the performance of all the launch pool token, then you take the BNB one. So this one you
Yeah,
can
I
stake it.
like Binance. CZ's cool. I like what he's
This is
doing.
good, yeah.
Okay.
Then you can, you just deposit, your Solv BTC here, and then you got some Solv BTC.bm Binance.bnb. So which is the LST? Means that you are, since you like deposited successfully, then you get the use from Binance launch pool.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a vault actually. It's a vault, like operated on chain. That your your Bitcoin gonna be deposited into Venus and listed out and borrows BNB, and the BNB will be deposited into listed out to get the staking. Yeah, it's done.
So
Yeah,
this is the same thing that happened to me before. I confirmed the transaction on MetaMask, and then I had to do the same action again. So is there a reason for doing it twice like that on both of
because
these transactions?
because like Solv BTC is more acting as a gateway or a ticket for people to participate into BTC5. So when you got Solv BTC, it means that you open the gate. But the next part is that there are different varieties of like choices here. So you can decide whatever you want. So I will give an example. Recently, there are more and more users want to borrow against their Bitcoin to get USD1. USD1 is stablecoin issued by World Liberty Finance. So actually, you can bring your Solv BTC to Lista DAO as a collateral to get some USD1 out of like from Lista DAO. So there are more and more.
I'm sorry, the money's gone from MetaMask now. Where is it? Where did the money
Go to
go?
your portfolio, my portfolio.
You just go to my portfolio.
Okay.
That one. You will see this. Yes, exactly. This one.
Okay. And then,
Are there any cooldowns?
in 5 or 10 years from now, I just hit this unstake button and I've got a bunch of money.
Yeah, like 7 days withdrawal.
7 days.
Yes, because as a vote, like the votes would execute that to deposit the BTC into Lista DAO or Venus and borrow against it to get BNB. So I mean, like once you deposit it, it takes a little bit time to get the money back from those of the votes from Venus, from Lista DAO, but it's all on chain.
But if I wanted to leave it for longer than that, like if I wanted to leave it for a few years or whatever, and then come back here, would that work?
For sure.
Or?
Yeah, for sure, it works for sure.
Yeah, I don't generally make investments for 7 day period. Honestly, either 5 minutes or 5 years. The 7 days is a wonky time frame for me. I gotta set myself a reminder or whatever to unstake, and then I gotta do all that again and go back from chain to chain to chain to get it back on my Solana. I wonder how much I paid for in fees. Although that doesn't seem like a lot.
Why would you want to get out into Solana? If you're staking BTC, like I want to get that out into BTC.
So how is any of this connected to BTC? Because I'm this one thing that I'm very confused about, because I didn't
your Solv BTC, you can take it out into mainnet. That's simple as that.
So I can unstake this into my Bitcoin wallet.
Unstake, and then you transfer it. You bridge from Solv BTC into native L1 BTC.
Yes.
So when I unstake, this is going to go in. I'll have to put my actual Bitcoin address.
Yes.
No.
Actually, it won't. That would be that's one kind of the way that you.
I'm very curious now. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
But
I'm unstaking everything.
But at the moment, to withdraw your BTC into mainnet BTC is not something that feasible at the moment. But in the future, it's on the roadmap.
Okay, so maybe you can explain to me in simple terms. Again, as Dudu said, I am retarded. So what? How does solve BTC.BNB like? What does it have to do with Bitcoin? Like, I mean, am I staking Bitcoin? Is there any Bitcoin actually? I didn't touch any Bitcoin in any of these transactions. I took the money from Solana, put it on MetaMask into BNB, and I took it from the BNB to BTCB, and then I put it from BTCB into my Solv BTC. So this is if I'm correct in what I've just done, I've made a chain of events. But what does any of that have to do with Bitcoin?
Yes. So since you purchase BTCB, it means that you purchase certificates that issued by Binance, pegged to BTC, right? So you got the exposure on BTC now. So I mean that's the key step for you to get the exposure of Bitcoin. So that's a key thing. And since you deposit your BTCB into our smart contract to get Solv BTC, it means that you take a step into BTC5. You want to make this Bitcoin into a productive asset. You want to borrow against it. You want to get some yield. Then you take this step, and then like Solv.BNB is one of the choice here. But of course, you can select Bearer chain, but it seems like Dudu don't like it. It seems you don't like it very obviously.
I have no problem with Bearer chain, by the way. I have problems with a lot of things, but Bearer chain is not one of them.
Yeah, so
that's my trauma.
Opinion. He's got his own opinion.
Yeah, but I wanna. We got a few minutes left. Thank you for that demo. I think that's the most successful demo we've had. We'll cut it out.
Yes, honestly, yes, very smooth experience. Other than I had to figure out how to get into the BTCB, but good.
But that's the question I think for Ryan. Are you guys thinking of Solana at any time?
Yes. August we're gonna deploy.
August we've got Solana. So that kind of wraps it up for today. I was going to ask you about future plans, but I think Solana is a very big name. I think Hyperliquid as well. Like Hyperliquid and Solana, like any project that I'm working with at the moment, like you want to go where the action is, where the narrative is, where the liquidity is, and that's in two places. That's Hyperliquid and Solana. Everything else, I mean, there's still a lot of but a lot of TVL. But if you're a $1 billion TVL product, to go to a chain with 300, 200, $100 million TVL, there's only a limit to even if you capture 100% of their TVL, you can only grow by so much. You know what I'm saying? So you need to play. You're a big fish. You need to play with the whales. So congrats on that, Ryan. Thank you so much for an epic episode. We will be sharing some clips from this episode in the coming days to get everyone reacquainted with Solv BTC and Solv Protocol. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for coming, and thank you to Mati. Mati has now officially got $100 worth of. How much do you think that will be worth in 10 years' time? That's going to be some bank right there. That's at least 10x thing, So you can slowly DCA into Solv.
$250 at least.
In 10 years, you only think we're going to do 2x? Well, you're joking.
I have no fucking clue, dude.
By 10 years, we've at $1 million and beyond. So thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, if it's on. So what is my exposure to though? It's not Binance. Is it Bitcoin? Am I exposed to Bitcoin here for the most part?
Yes, a Bitcoin.
Okay, so Bitcoin goes up, my investment goes up. If Bitcoin goes up 3x, my investment goes up 3.5x. Is that kind of the idea?
Yes, kind of.
I mean, your investment will go up 3x in capital gains, and then it will be the reinvested yield that you're earning will also go up.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's sort of like an annuity with capital gains and interest coming into the factor. So,
awesome.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely.
Okay.